Welcome back, everyone. This is the first episode of season 8. Um, something a little weird happened after the last game. Um, for some reason, the head coach that we had wouldn't accept a contract renewal. His contract was up. He said what would be a fair offer. I offered him what he wanted, and he turned it down. And then all throughout the postseason, I offered him more contracts with higher money, and he kept turning them down. And he ended up leaving us to go to the LA Rams. I was not expecting that to happen. I wanted to bring him back, considering he was 38-10 during his time here, but unfortunately, he didn't want to come back. So, as you can see, we have a new coach. His name is Coach Morley. And I figured, hey, since we're going with a new coach, maybe it's time to go ahead and change things up a little bit. The reason I say that is because our defense is aging a little bit. Myles Garrett, Joey Bosa are both in their 30s. We have a couple years left before they at least start regressing, if not retiring. Our defensive tackles, we had one really good defensive tackle, and then another one that was good, but that second defensive tackle, he progressed a lot during his first year, a little bit during his second year, and just hasn't been progressing. So, and I ended up offering him a big 7-year, multi-million-dollar contract, but I felt like I just wasn't getting that much out of him. So I ended up, also, we weren't generating that much of a pass rush. I mean, I say that much of a pass rush because when I watch the games, I see us getting stuffed almost every single time. However, when you look at the stats, we had 3 guys that were in double-digit sacks. Now, those 3 guys that were in double-digit sacks are still on our team. However, I wanted to be able to defend against the pass much better. So I decided to go with the coach that had a 3-4 defense. In doing so, I ended up going with the base 3-4 because it was pretty similar. I'm sorry, not a base 3-4, a disguised 3-4, because it didn't require that much of a shift in the personnel. So I don't have to completely rebuild the defense. In fact, all that does is make that second defensive tackle a little less important, other than maybe depth or backup. And then it requires us to have an extra middle linebacker. Now, middle linebacker has always been our weak point. We have a good starter, but we never had that good backup. So what I ended up doing is I traded our first-round pick, our backup quarterback, Fitzsimmons, and our second defensive tackle, Blackburn, since he wasn't really needed anymore. I traded those 3 things to the Atlanta Falcons, and I got Benji Mentor. Now, Benji Mentor is, he's been randomly generated, drafted as a rookie in this game, so he's not a name that you're going to be familiar with. However, I can tell you that he's one of the top middle linebackers in the entire league. In fact, I think he's the 8th best middle linebacker. And he's 29 years old. So we're still going to get 3 to 4 solid years out of him. Whereas Blackburn, with us going to the 3-4, he drops to a backup defensive tackle. So we just weren't going to get as much out of Blackburn. And Fitzsimmons is a backup quarterback. He had probably at least star potential, but he's not going to see the field for us because we have Schwartz. So I took 2 pieces that weren't really doing much for us, and I sent them out, and I got a piece that's going to make a massive impact for our defense. So even though we're changing defensive schemes and going from a 4-3 to a 3-4, we're still going to have the personnel to be a dominant 3-4 defense without having to go through a rebuild. Now, within a couple years, we're going to have a very old defense, so I'm going to have to eventually rebuild that. But for now, we're in a scheme, that while our Super Bowl window is wide open, we don't have to close it to rebuild. For offense, if you remember last year, we were a West Coast power run offense. I thought about going back to that, considering how successful Nick Chubb was in that. He was first in yards, first in touchdowns, first in carries, which he did everything I expected him to do, and he had a record-setting game last year. However, when the game's on the line, our quarterback just wasn't doing it. Our quarterback could make plays throughout the game when he wasn't needed to do so. When Nick Chubb was able to carry the game for us, our quarterback could make plays. But in that West Coast offense, it's a ball control offense. You got to keep it safe. Check down to the receiver unless you find that wide open player. We didn't really have the wide receivers for that. The West Coast offense requires route runners. And I was building up our route running skill, but we have deep threat wide receivers. So I decided to go ahead and go to a vertical passing offense so that we can make use of those deep threat receivers while we have them. We're still it's a vertical power run, so we're still going to be able to use Nick Chubb, but I think we're going to have a more potent offense with this vertical offense and taking advantage of the pieces that we have. Now, again, the other thing with the vertical offense being vertical power run is our personnel transitions nicely to it. We don't have to rebuild our offense to play well in this new scheme. So, yes, we had to change coaches. Yes, we're changing schemes, but we're changing to schemes that our personnel transitions nice to. So we should still be a dominant team. I did sign a right outer linebacker to a 7-year, $3.85 million contract, so I got him for literally the league minimum. But he's a quality player, and he fits into the scheme that we have. That was the only hole that I needed to fill. However, with that trade that I made, we now need a backup quarterback. So I go into this draft with only one hole. I need to fill a backup quarterback. So I'm not sure how many of these draft picks I'm going to keep. I'm going to draft a quarterback to be our backup, but other than that, every other position on our roster is filled. So I may trade a lot of these picks away for draft capital next year as I see how our team ages and how we do in the new schemes. And remember, I traded away our first-round pick to get Benji, so we're not going to have him pick that entire first round. We do have 2 second-round picks, a third, a fourth, a fifth, 2 sixths, and a seventh. So we have plenty of picks. Like I said, only one of those I really need. I'll take a look at what talent is available because I'm not going to just trade away a pick to get some draft capital next year if there's someone that I see that is going to be a steal. So with that said, let's go ahead and get the draft started. Enjoy.
The Texans are now on the clock.
And you know what? In the interest of time, and because I've talked so long, I'm not going to wait the full 20 seconds for them to make their pick. Starting with the Broncos, I'm just going to do the skip ahead to next pick so we can see who they draft.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
There are some monster quarterbacks. I can show you that real quick. They drafted one there, Schrader. But if you look at Presley here, Schrader and Presley, I think, are going to be really good quarterbacks. In fact, I expected Schrader to have a higher overall. I wouldn't be surprised if Presley was a 76 overall. Oh, and by the way, the Rams, our old head coach went to the Rams. So we'll have to see how he does with them and see if our success was based off of his coaching or our roster. All right, let's go ahead and skip to next.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Kind of curious to see what Presley ends up being.
The Panthers are now on the clock. The Browns are now
So
on
yeah,
the clock.
I said I thought he'd be a 76. He ended up being a 76. So he's going to be a pretty darn good quarterback.
The Colts are now on the clock.
We'll see if anyone
The
gets
Jets are now on the clock.
a 77 or 78 overall.
The Steelers are now on
For
the
now, it
clock.
looks like 76 is the best.
The Vikings are now on the clock. The Seahawks are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock.
Now, the Broncos
The
drafted
Saints are
earlier.
now on
If
the
I
clock.
remember right, I don't remember what position they drafted. I think it was offensive line, maybe a guard. I think he ended up being a 71 overall. So if that guard develops into a good guard, assuming it's a guard, then it'll be a good pick. But for now, it looks like with the second overall pick, they could have done a lot better. The reason I say that is because we have the Raiders here. Let's see who the Raiders pick.
The Ravens are now
Oh,
on the
they
clock.
messed that pick up. So they drafted a 65 overall middle linebacker in the first round. Good job, Raiders. Thank you for continuing to hand me wins later as the seasons progress.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Okay, now we got the
The
Chiefs
Chiefs are
on the
now on the
clock
clock.
now.
The
And they
Cowboys
picked
are
a
now
68
on the clock.
overall defensive end. I'm fine with
The Bears are
people
now on
botching
the
their
clock.
picks. So in the first round, it looks like the Broncos won our division because we didn't have a pick. The other teams messed up their pick, and the Broncos drafted a 71 overall guy. So Broncos so
The
far had the best
Falcons are
draft
now
out of
on
our
the clock.
division.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Okay, so we're in the second round now. I can start just simulating to our pick, but I'm kind of interested to see what the Broncos
are now
here
on the
pick.
clock. The Rams are now
Okay,
on
so
the
they got
clock.
another 71 overall, this time a halfback. I'll go ahead and we'll go to my pick now.
The Oklahoma City Nighthawks are now on the clock.
All right. Let's see what's available. Okay, so this guy's projected to go in the second round, mid-second rounder. That's about where we're at right now. He is a strong arm quarterback, which fits into our scheme. Good throw power, good throw on the run, above average throw accuracy deep. Might actually be a good person to take for us since that's, I need a quarterback and he fits. Let's see what else is available though. See if there's anyone that has a green too, because right now, okay, here we go. So there's a few twos here, but they're projected to go later, which I might actually be able to get with my later two. And that's if I even want them. I'm going to take the quarterback. I don't need him to be great, so if he's good, awesome. If not,
The Saints are now on the clock.
70 overall. I don't know why it gave us a bad sound when we drafted him, because we actually drafted him above where he's valued. And for a backup quarterback, I'll take a 70. Normal development, but whatever. He's our backup. All right, let's go to the next pick.
The Oklahoma City Nighthawks are now
All
on
right,
the
so
clock.
let's see who's available. I'll just go to scouted. And I didn't do a draft board this year because whatever. All right, this guy's projected to be a first-round talent. I don't need a halfback. I mean, we have Nick Chubb and Spencer Jones, and our third-string halfback is a pretty good halfback. So let's see, this guy's a power back. Man. If he's available when our third-round pick comes around, I'll pick him up. I don't really want him at this pick right here. This guy might actually be better because he's stronger and faster. Even though he's the scouts say that Andrew is better, but I don't really want to draft either of them. Is there anyone I can maybe draft? Actually, let's take a look at Forbes. So he's a run support strong safety, and Derwin James is getting kind of old. Do we want him? I'm half tempted to pick him up, but I need him. Let me take a look at what I can get trade-wise for this. Okay, so they're offering thirds. Can't even get a second next year for this. Tampa Bay's offering me a second. You know, since Tampa Bay wants it the most, let's see if I can package some picks and get a first for next year from Tampa Bay. We want their first next year. You know what? Best I can offer. If they take it, great. If not, almost. Oh, man. I could probably remove this fourth and put next year's third in there and get that. But do I want to give up that much? I'm going to say no. I'm just going to draft that strong safety.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
73 overall. He was the 17th best in the draft. We got him at 62. Good pick. Only a normal development rate, so he'll probably never grow into someone that will replace Derwin James, but hopefully he progresses. Alright, let's see what we can get in the third round.
The Oklahoma City Nighthawks are now on the clock.
And that halfback is not still available. Looks like we can get a wide receiver that's projected to go in the second round, or he's a second round talent anyway. Doesn't have that great of agility or acceleration. The rest of his stats are good. He's tall, he can catch, but really don't need a wide receiver. So Matthew Peck might be someone I'm interested in taking the fourth round pick. In fact, I kind of do want to take him because he's going to be better than the backup we have at right end, but I'm not taking him right now. I'm going to trade this pick away. Just get the best that I can get out of the offers here. I'm sure I could probably go and fleece someone for a better pick, but alright, so we got projected 95 and projected 88. Let's take the projected 88.
Hold on now. This pick is trading teams.
Alright, let's hope Peck is available.
The Oklahoma City Nighthawks are now on the clock.
Ashley's available. Leach is available. Doesn't look like Peck is, though. Darn it. Alright, Lashley, how good are you? This guy's kind of the same as the last. His stats are decent except for his acceleration and agility. Tall and can catch, but don't really need a wide receiver bad enough to take him. At least not right now. Maybe if he's available next round. You're all C's. I'm not drafting you. Really hoping that Peck was available. And I might actually draft this guy at some point. Alright, let's trade this pick away. See if we can get a third. Fifth. Fourth. Man, that's gross. Alright, Raiders. Here.
How come nobody's at the podium? That's because both teams are right now working on a trade. The Oklahoma City Nighthawks are now on the clock.
And no one that I want is available. Alright, well, I think with the sixth pick, I'm going to go ahead and take Demetrius Cook. But that's probably going to be the last, or the only guy that I draft. I almost simulated that pick. That would have been bad. 130. 123.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a trade. The Oklahoma City Nighthawks are now on the clock.
And he's not available. Awesome. Well, that's my draft. There's really nobody else that I want. So, fifths. 43 looks like it's up 137. 135. Yeah, sure.
I see both teams filling out cards. You know what that means?
And I know that that's
We've got a
not what
trade.
the pick's actually going to be next year.
The Oklahoma City
But,
Nighthawks are now on the clock.
Oh, that's right. We had 2 sixths. But it's nice to at least have that benchmark if this is what it might be. So 137.
Well, wait, looks like both war rooms are feverishly back on the phones. I think that means a trade is coming.
All right, let's just look and see what's available. 2 guys that aren't worth drafting. So we'll probably get a 6th next year. 175, 169.
Well, if you're wondering what the delay is, I think we've got a trade coming here.
Okay. Well, that was our draft. What did I get? 2 guys? Yeah, I got 2 guys. 70 and a 73. Cool. We now have negative cap room, so I need to cut someone or trade someone away. I kind of knew that was going to happen because Blackburn still had a lot of years left on that brand new contract we gave him. So I'm suffering a pretty big cap penalty, but that'll go away by next year. And $1 million's not that much to send away. In fact, the backup that I have right now at strong safety is probably making enough that I can cut him and make that up. So anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching the draft episode, even though I didn't have much of a draft. I didn't really need much of an offseason this year. We are literally the best team in the league on paper. There's nothing I can do. I mean, I can improve the team, I guess, by maybe trading away some things to get better starters. Maybe improve the offensive line. But honestly, we should be winning the Super Bowl. Out of the last 2 years, in fact, I'll even throw in the last 3 years. Out of the last 3 years, I should have had at least 1 Super Bowl, if not 2. Hasn't happened, so we'll see what happens under Coach Morley's reign as coach with the new schemes. Maybe we have a better team that can get it done now. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out episode 2 tomorrow to see how our team does with the new schemes. Thanks for watching.